Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. As you can tell by the title, today we're going to be discussing my favorite drugstore affordable priced brushes. I have a lot of brushes in my collection. I have a bunch of like little jars in front of me full of them, and then this back drawer right here is like stuffed with brushes. So I thought I'd just share with you guys my all-time favorites, the ones I reach for over and over, and if I was without them, I definitely go back and repurchase them. And the special thing is that they are all affordable priced brushes. Most of these you can find at your local drugstore, and if not, you can order these online, but they're still an affordable price. So let's just get right on into it. I'm not going to be mentioning like sponges and stuff in this video because I want to do like a full separate video on my favorite drugstore sponges. But let's start with like foundation brush, of course. And this is the Real Techniques Expert Face Brush. Now, out of all the foundation like packed brushes I have, this is my absolute favorite. And the reason being, it is a little more narrow, as you can tell, but it's still super dense. So I like it because you can really get your whole face. You can even get under the eyes. It applies makeup beautifully. It doesn't leave streak marks. It just packs it all in really, really nicely. So this is definitely my favorite like foundation brush, and I will have the prices on the screen for each item, but I think this is around like $7, so it's an excellent price for a really, really good foundation brush. Now the next brush I'm going to mention is also from Real Techniques, and this is the Real Techniques sculpting brush. Now the reason I'm mentioning this brush right here is it still has that compact feel to it. It does have a more narrow edge, and I love how versatile this brush is. I can use this for foundation all over the face. It packs in my foundation beautifully. I can use this for concealer under the eyes because it does have that more narrow point, so you can get right on in there and really get a precise concealer look. I can go in on the eyelid with my concealer. I can do cream bronzer, cream contour, anything like that. This brush is perfect for. So I love this brush, and I'm mentioning it because you guys can pick this up and literally use it for any of your cream products because it's beautiful. So one of my true favorites right there. Okay, let's move on to some powder brushes. The first one is the e.l.f. I think this is a compact powder brush. There's no name on it, but I'll have the name somewhere on the screen for you guys. This is one of my favorite like powder brushes to just pack in compact powders, like something like this. I just go into the powder and just pack it on my face. Great for touch-ups throughout the day. If I'm looking a little oily or my makeup's looking a little weird, I will just pat this right on the face with a powder, and it's just a beautiful brush. I love the shape of it. You can even get right under the eyes, but it's still super big, so you don't have to spend a long time doing your whole face. Alright, this next brush right here is from Wet n Wild, and this is the Wet n Wild powder brush. Now, I use this for powder sometimes, but I love using it for bronzer as well. It just fits right here really nicely, and if I want just a really natural, blended out bronzer look, really effortless type look, this is what I will go to. It's a beautiful brush, and I think it's under like $5, so this is an amazing price for a really nice powder brush. It's really, really soft. Really all the Wet n Wild brushes are really nice, but I'm just mentioning my top favorites in this video. Next brush I have right here is the Real Techniques blush brush. Now, I do not use this for blush, as you could probably tell. I do use this for bronzer, and this is my all-time favorite bronzer brush. The Wet n Wild one is nice, and I'll use it sometimes, but this is like my go-to. I just love how it kind of comes to a point, and you can kind of bronze up the face while giving a little like contour and a little sculpting to your face. So it's really, really nice, really soft, but it applies product beautifully, grabs just enough product, blends it out so nice. So definitely my favorite bronzer brush. Next, let's talk about a blush brush. Now, this is the Morphe E4 brush. The one they have now doesn't look the exact same. It is the same shape and everything, just a different color because they like redid their Elite line. But this is my all-time favorite blush brush. I never really liked like angled brushes like this for my blush. I like more big fluffy ones. But there's something about this brush that applies my blush so beautifully. It fits right on my cheekbone right here and just blends it out right out so nice. This is definitely the best blush brush I've ever tried. I have a lot of problems with applying blush because it can become patchy right on the cheek area, but with this brush it just blends it out really nice, and you can concentrate it on the apple of your cheek and then brush it back as well. So really excellent brush right here. I've had it for a long time. There's no shedding with it, anything like that, so excellent brush right there. I'm gonna mention this brush right here because I do use it a lot, but I don't have like a concrete use I use it for. This is the e.l.f. Complexion brush, and what I like about this brush is you can use it for so many things. So if you're on a budget and you want just a really strong brush that you can use for basically half your face, this is a great one. I use this for powder all over the face sometimes. Bronzer, it's great because again, that tapered kind of feel to it, so you can get right in there. For blush as well, it's great if you want just a light wash of blush. I just dip into my blush compact and just do this and I'm good to go. So if you're looking for a multitasking brush for like powder products, this is a really great one right here. Alright, next brush I want to mention is another Real Techniques brush. This is the contour brush. Now I've never actually used this brush for contouring. I don't think you ever have to go by the name of the brush. Sometimes it just works out perfectly, but other times I use brushes for whatever I like them for. So this one right here I use for my under eyes, and I use it for packing on powder. This works great with compact powder, and it also works great with loose powders. Now, I usually don't like applying loose powders with a brush. I usually like them like with a damp sponge, dipping in and pressing it under my eyes. But this is probably the only brush that I can apply like loose powders with. It's really, really nice. Has a nice like firmness to it, but it's still soft under the eyes, and it doesn't like irritate my under eyes, which is good. It's the right size just for my under eyes, and I can dip into product. It grabs the loose powder really nice, so you don't have to go back in a million times. So this is definitely a great one for under the eyes. It also works for blending out concealer. I just don't prefer it as much for that, but setting the under eyes is definitely my favorite way to use that brush. Alright, let's move on to like everyone's favorite, and that is highlighter. And I actually have 3 brushes to share with you guys today. So the first one I have here is the Morphe M501 brush. This was one of my first like highlighting brushes that was shaped this way, and I fell in love with it so easily. I love this shape of highlighting brush just because you can hit right the top of the cheekbone, right on the bridge of the nose. Everything is just so easy. This one is really nice. The only thing I will say about it, I've had it for years now, and it has started shedding a little bit on me, but the hairs are pretty thick, so it's not hard to like pick it off your face, but just be careful about that. Once you do have it for a while, they do start to shed, but that is really normal with any brush. I think the reason I just noticed it with this one is because it does have dark hairs. The next brush is also from Morphe, and this is the Morphe M510. So very similar to the black one. I just think this one is a little more fluffy. It applies it just a little more wide, your highlighter, and that really depends on the type of highlighter look you're going for. This is still a nice brush, so I love this highlighting brush. And then this one right here is the Real Techniques setting brush. Now I sometimes use this to set my under eyes because it's really teeny tiny. I do have a pretty big under eye area, so I do like the other brush from Real Techniques more. But this is an amazing brush for highlighting the cheekbones. It's really nice and precise. It comes to a point, as most of my favorite brushes do, where I want like a nice precise look. And it just applies your highlighter right where you want it. It's really nice, super soft, and it picks up just the right amount of product. So love those 3 brushes. So I think that is all for face brushes. Let's move on to eye brushes. So of course, in any collection you have to have like your big fluffy crease brushes. I'm going to share with you guys a few of my favorites here. So the first one right here is the e.l.f. Flawless Concealer Brush. I never use this brush for concealer. You can actually use this brush for highlighting because it's a nice small size. But what I love most about it is how nicely it can just blend out the eyeshadow right on the upper crease. It is a super big brush. It's like the size of my eye, but I can just go in right here and kind of buff out any lines. This is great for putting in a very light transition shade if you want to be really fast and you just want to go do and you're all done with your transition. So really like that brush there. The next 2 brushes are both from Morphe. This is the Morphe M441 and then the Morphe R38. These are very similar brushes, as you can tell. Very similar, but what I love about these is they're great for the outer crease or the outer corner, and I can really build up color and make sure it's all blended out with these. They blend out shadow beautifully. Next brush is also pretty similar. This is the Morphe MB23, and this is what this looks like right here. It's similar to the other Morphe ones, but it's a little smaller, so what I love to use this for is directly the outer corner, really building up color in the outer corner. You can use this kind of pack on color and then use it to blend it out, since it does have that fluffy look to it. And the last brush I have to mention here is the Sheer Cover Studio brush. I'm not sure which one this is because I literally can't find it anywhere anymore, but if you guys know where to find these brushes, let me know down below in the comments. I'll try to find a website or something. I'm pretty sure it's like a crease brush since it's pretty fluffy, but I love using this just in the crease, wiggling it back and forth, and it gives such a nice look. Alright, let's talk about some eyeshadow like packer brushes, like lid shades. I have two right here to mention to you guys, and these are my absolute favorite like lid eyeshadow brushes, like flat eyeshadow brushes that are really good for packing on color. The first one is the e.l.f. Professional eyeshadow brush, and I think this is the most affordable brush in everything I'm showing you guys. I believe this brush is like $1 or something, so that's amazing, but it packs on eyeshadow so nice because it has a really flat end to it. Still a little fluffy though, so good for blending that lid shade into your crease shade, so love that one. And a similar brush is the Real Techniques base shadow brush, and I like this one as well. This is what I use for my eyelids today. This one's not as packed as the e.l.f. one. It's a little more sparse, but it does apply eyeshadow really nicely if you want more of that light eyeshadow look. Alright, I'm going to mention these two brushes right here. This one is from Wet n Wild right here, and it's a small little brush, and this one is from Sheer Cover. They're very similar in size and everything, and what I love these brushes for is the inner corner highlighting and also the brow bone highlighting. So these are two brushes that I reach for a lot and just wanted to give them a quick mention. Next brushes I do want to mention here are the brushes I use for my lower lash line. Now these are literally almost identical, but I do want to mention both of them just in case it's easier for you to get one over the other. The first one is the Crown Pro C513, and it's just a nice little lower lash line brush that comes to a nice point, and I love these types of brushes for my lower lash line because I can really pick up a nice amount of color and apply it, but then blend it out nicely as well, and with the point you can get really close to that lower lash line. And then I have the Morphe M431, very similar as well, but these are just my two favorites that I use on a daily basis. Last brush I'm going to mention is also from Real Techniques, and this is the Detailer brush. I think this is an essential brush in your collection. It doesn't have one certain use, but I think it's nice to have a very small little brush like this. You can use this for spot concealing. That's what I use it a lot for. Color correcting, it's really nice because you can kind of pack it on. And then definitely for the lips, if you have a lipstick in a pot or something, you can definitely use that to apply it. So I think this is a very essential brush, so I do like that one. So that's really all of my favorite brushes. Obviously I use other brushes as well, but these are the ones that I can't live without. These are the ones that I use on like an every single day basis, the ones that I reach for the most. If you want to see my whole brush collection or something like that, let me know down below in the comments. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.